Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are looking at norms for your small group. So yesterday we went over this list of norms here up on the board. Okay, this is what we made as a group, and then you worked on an activity as in your small group, and then you talked about for your homework what worked, what didn't work. So we're going to share out, if you are this position at your table, you are going to share your one thing from your group. Okay? So we're going to start with Lorenzo. It can either be one positive thing that works with your group or one negative thing. Shh. Go ahead, Lorenzo. Positive or negative, doesn't matter. Pick one. Sure.
Wait, what question do I need?
So, which one talked about good things? Number 2, I think, what worked with your group?
They were active.
Okay. Good. Reggie, what about you? Positive or a negative thing?
Positive.
What worked well?
Us talking more and trying to figure out who had what, and then trying to narrow it down to what actually like.
Okay. Ashley?
Explain all right.
Okay. How about a negative thing? Something didn't work with your group. You guys worked really well? Okay, so give me a positive. Okay. Sharon?
I felt our group could have communicated better and we could have worked together as a team more instead of having different answers for everything.
Okay. Daniel?
The group really was like one kind of like one mindset.
Good.
Like we all were kind of on point.
Guys, we're on point, on the same page. So everybody's pretty happy with their group, right? Little tweaking needs to happen, but mostly it's okay. We do need to, if it's not okay, don't feel like you got to tell me right now in front of the whole class, okay? But if something's up with your group, something needs to change, you know, or just like, I like my group, but if I sit in the back, I'll talk too much or I can't see, let me know. And I'm going to try to get the groups really good by the beginning of next week. Next week we do a 2-day group project, okay, which is worth 20 points. It's 10 points per day. No.
Okay.
And then we will do for the rest of the week next week a 3-day group project, so it's worth 30 points. So that's a big percentage. Like if you think next week just in group work is the same amount as a quiz, okay? So if you like your group, this is a good place for you. If you don't, remember your grade and your understanding of the material is really, really important, so you need to do that. So, Daryl, this would be not a good time to be on our phone right now because I'm in the middle of the class talking. So when you're working on something individual, or it would be a great idea to make eye contact with me so I think you're listening at least. Okay. All right. So let's look at what we've got up here. Equal work, which I think everybody does their part, basically. On topic. No talking when speaker is talking. Pay attention to instructions. Don't be afraid to share ideas. Respectful, work together. Stay on task. No phones out. Can we make no phones out unless necessary? Because I don't know about you guys, but I'm one person and there are 6 groups. I can't be 6 places at once. Does anybody want to wait for me the whole time? Everybody here, GTS? Google that stuff? Okay? That's what, like, I don't expect you to have your phone out watching a movie, but if you're like, she is way over there and I got a question, if it's like a formula where you can be like, what's the formula for, you know, a pentagon? You can plug that into your calculator, get it way faster than you can get my instruction. Obviously, if you need another way to do it, phone's not working for some reason, I got books over there, okay? But I like no phones out for non-educational purposes. Phones out for educational purposes, okay? Participate. You guys, a lot of these things all come down to participate, right? Oh, have fun, that's important. Like stay on task comes to participate, equal work comes to participate, no talking when speaker's talking kind of is more respect, I would say. Okay, pay attention to instructions. You know, a lot of these can be like combined into one big thing, right? are you guys planning, when it says on topic, are you guys planning, if I give you a class period to work on something, to 100% of the time stay on topic? Really? 100%? Who thinks they can stay 100% on topic? Not talk about the weekend at all or what's going on? Right. Okay, let's try for 80%. 85 would be even better.
90.
Okay? 90 would be awesome.
95.
If you can do 95, I will be super, super impressed, obviously. Okay, so I kind of narrowed these down. If I was going to pick 3 big things to talk about for our norms, where a lot of these were subcategories, okay? What do you think my 3 big things would be? Participate, number 1. What? Wouldn't equal work be under participate? Wouldn't that be a subcategory? Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
No phones. Respect.
Respect. I think if you have your phone out and are watching a movie while your group is working, that's kind of a level of disrespect, right? So I put respect, phones, participate, you're not participating, kind of goes under multiple ones. What's another one that okay, say I give you a homework assignment. And then that homework assignment is what you have to do in your group. And parts of your group don't do it. What are those people not?
Responsible.
Prepared. Prepared, I feel like, is really important. These are my big 3, where all of these can fit under somewhere in the subcategory. Okay, work together fits under participate. Okay, don't be afraid to share ideas fits under respect and participate. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so I'm going to make this on a big piece of paper. I'm going to put it up there. Let's talk about a little bit. What's the difference between participating in a whole class and participating in your small group?
I guess when you say whole class, you come in as one.
Right.
Ideas are coming as one, and then the group just small.
Okay. What does talking look like in a whole group? If everybody talked at the same time, would you consider that participating?
No.
No, it's disrespectful and it's distracting, right? Now, am I going to, every time we get a whole group, hear every single person's opinion?
No.
Yes.
Okay. That's not always going to happen. Usually it's like a group consensus and I try to hear from each group. Okay. If you're in a group setting, should you hear everybody's voice in your group?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit today about the differences like that, like participating whole group versus participating in small groups and what that kind of looks like, all right? So a lot of, like one of my big things in whole group is we got to be quiet and we got to wait till the other person finishes talking. If you were quiet the whole time in your small group, would you get anything done? I feel like sometimes I give you problems and it's like if you don't talk about it, you're just gonna like stare at it the whole time, right? Like you gotta, to get started, you gotta get something out. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and look at a new activity to try out these small group norms, those big 3, and see if there's anything we need to tweak with them. But more importantly, I want to get your mind going this time. Okay, well, it's geometry. We got a lot of shapes to try. Okay, so we've got equal size circles that are arranged either into a square, how many can fit into a square, or how many can fit into a hexagon. I want to know what percent of the square is taken up by circles. See how there's some left over in here? Right? I want to know how much percent is colored in by those circles. Okay? That's the whole point. We're going to assume 2 things. We're going to assume that the circles are touching each other, so there's no space in between here and here and here and here. Okay? They're touching. And we're going to assume that it doesn't look like they are up there, but we're going to assume that. Yeah. And we're going to assume that a radius of a circle is 1. So the point of this is to come up with a percentage with a reason how you got that percentage, okay? And I would like 2 sentences. If you only get through the square one, that's fine. If you have leftover time, we're going to try that hexagon. We get out of class today, this is the second hour, we get out at 9:45. So I would like to, by 9:30, start talking about this, okay? So by 9:30. So I'm going to pass one of these out to each of you, and at 9:30 we're going to talk about the answer, okay? All right, my back group. How did you come up with your answer? Shh.
We like tried to flip the circles to see if it would cover the whole square, and it covers most of it. So we put 75%.
Okay. So you kind of did a visual representation of how much would fit in there. Okay. All right. Next group, what did you guys do?
We divided one circle into each person's 25.
I'm sorry, if your group isn't speaking, you shouldn't be speaking. Okay, start saying it again.
We divide the circles into 4 portions equals 25, and 25 of each part of the square. Times by 400.
Okay. All right. And next group.
So we did all the circles was 100%. Every circle.
Okay.
We did each circle is 5%.
Okay.
And we did 1% of that are inside the square.
Okay.
We got 20%.
Okay. Next group. Next group. Okay, what'd you do?
So we like shaded it in first, how you told us to, and that left like a little box, so that gave us a clue. But we counted up how many circles were on the picture, and that was 20. And then we knew that the square covered 4 of the circles, so we divided that by 4, and we got 5. And then we sort of figured that that little box was like 5% of the whole square, so we just subtracted it from 100 and got 95.
Okay. My last group.
So we kind of like estimated after you told us the shade,
Mm-hmm.
we got thoughts, and we thought it was like between 60 to 75% shaded in.
Okay. Okay. So we've got to think about. Each of us individually shared out what it was. Okay. Now I'm going to go over an explanation of how to get the right answer. So a lot of you are very close. All right, it is 78% approximately. Maybe a little less, maybe a little more. So let's go over. I highly recommend, because this could be on a homework quiz, I highly recommend that you write down how to achieve this answer. Okay? So first, I look at this and I say, okay, how much of a circle fits inside this square? Yes.
What's the answer? Quarter, just 4 quarters.
Hold on, I'll read the whole thing. Hold on. Okay, so I'm looking inside this square. And I'm like, how much of a circle fits in here? And I say, okay, it's a quarter, 1/4 of a circle. Well, how many quarters do I have? 4 quarters. So 4 quarters. So 1 circle is inside each square. Now I've got to figure out the area of a circle. And I assumed that the radius of my circle was 1. So I know the formula for a circle, something you could have GTS, is pi r squared or pi 1 squared. So I get 3.14. So I know the area of my circle is 3.14. Now the hard part is the area of the square. Okay, I know 2 radiuses make up 1 side. So I know the length of 1 radius is 1, and I've got 2 of them. So I've got this whole length right here is 2. Okay? So 2 times 2 gives me 4. That's the area of my square. So I'm going to do area of the circle divided by area of the square, and I get 78.5%. So, there are 4 main parts. 1, how many circles fit in a square? We found out there was 1. 2, what is the area of the circle? We got 3.14. 3, what's the area of the square? 4. Okay, because the length of the radius is 1. A side is 2 radiuses, so we've got 4. Finally, we do the area of the circle divided by the area of the square, and we get 70.85%. Okay, so this is really 4 parts. 1, 2, 3, and finally 4.
Wait, number 4 is
Divide the area of the circle, which is 3.14, divided by the area of the square, which is 4, giving me 78.5%. All right, so this has all kinds of good points in it that we're going to use in geometry. We are going to talk about area of circles. We're going to talk about area of squares. We're going to talk about percentages. We're going to talk about similarities. All of this stuff we're going to talk about. Okay? But the most important part of this is what happened as a whole group. Okay? What happened when each group was sharing out? What were you doing? What were other people doing? Were there distracting things going on? What should or shouldn't happen? What happened when I was sharing the correct answer out? Okay? This is how whole group will work. Every once in a while, whole group will work where it's 15 minutes straight of me explaining something, teaching you a new concept. But most of the time, this is what whole group looks like. So when you're finished copying this information down, if you turn your sheet over again, there are 3 questions talking about whole group. You have the rest of the class period to answer this, and then start on your homework. Both things will be due when you come back tomorrow. You will have to show me that you've answered these 3 questions, and you've worked on your homework assignment. Yes, Lorenzo first. No, what I'm going to pass out.
Oh, that's what I was
Yes.
gonna ask.
Yes, Lorenzo, you have another one?
Yeah, I'm confused on the arm of the circle.
I'm sorry. Somebody's asking a question, but I can't hear it because you're talking. What? The area of the circle?
No, arm of circle in the middle. Yeah, I was confused with that. Like what you did.
Here?
Yeah.
Okay. Area of the circle, pi times 1 squared, is 3.14.
Do we have to write 1 on one side, right?
You can write 1 for now. That's fine.